Hi, my name is Miriam Melendez, and today I'm going to make for you a Hispanic dessert. This Hispanic dessert is called the quesadilla, and it has been passed down from generation to generation since our ancestors brought cows to Central America and taught the natives how to make cheese. This quesadilla is a type of bread with a very cheesy flavor, and in our family it has become a part of our daily diet since we eat it for breakfast with coffee and hot chocolate almost every morning. It has also become part of most people's daily diet in El Salvador, and it is very common to find anywhere that you go over there. Okay, well, this is the recipe that my grandmother passed down to me, and let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. Here are the ingredients for making a quesadilla. Let's start over here. We have 225 grams of all-purpose flour, 340 grams of sugar, 212 grams of eggs, 198 grams of butter, 28 grams of powdered milk, 198 grams of water, 184 grams of hard cheese, preferably Salvadorian cheese, 7 grams of baking powder, sesame seeds just for decoration, 17 grams of yellow food coloring, 28 grams of vanilla imitation flavoring, 56 grams of Salvadorian cream, and a 22 centimeter mold. Okay, so the first step in making a quesadilla is to grate the cheese. So we're gonna grab the cheese and we are gonna shred it into little pieces. The smaller the pieces are, the better it would be, and to make it into a quesadilla, because the quesadilla won't end up feeling chunky. Okay, now that all the cheese is shredded, we are going to preheat the oven to 360 degrees. So bake 350 degrees. And we are going to let it preheat. Meanwhile, we are going to melt the butter in a pan. Put the butter. Right now, thermal energy is being transferred through conduction from the stovetop to the pan to the butter. And the butter is melting really fast because it has a very low specific heat capacity of 0.3 kilocalories per kilogram degrees Celsius. Okay, so now that we've melted the butter, we are going to start beating the eggs into the pan, into the bowl. So this is our bowl of sugar, and it's going in the big bowl. We're going to beat the sugar with the eggs for another 2 minutes. Okay, now that we've beat the eggs with the sugar for 2 minutes, we're going to let the big bowl sit for a second. We're going to mix the water with the vanilla imitation right here, and with the food coloring, and the powdered milk. This also goes in here. And we are going to stir it with a spoon, preferably. This mixture, we're going to pour it with the sugar and the eggs in the big bowl, along with the butter. We are going to mix in the cheese and the flour. The Salvadorian cream. And the baking powder. Remember, this baking powder is going to be important in the height of the bread. We're going to beat for 2 minutes. finished our mix, we have to grease up the mold. So grab your mold and grab a stick of butter, and you're just going to rub the stick of butter against the mold so that it gets all buttered up. Okay, now that we've greased up the pan, now we're gonna put flour over it. So you're just gonna grab a little bit of flour and you're gonna sprinkle it on like this. Okay, now that the pan is all greased up and floured, we are going to get our mix and we are just going to pour it. Pour. And you're just gonna shake it to even it out. And then we are going to put the sesame seeds. We're just going to sprinkle them on for decoration. And now we are going to put it in the middle rack of the oven. We are going to let it bake for 45 minutes. When we put bread in an oven, heat is getting transferred to it by convection. That's why we cannot put it too high or too low. That's why it has to be in the middle rack. Also, the baking powder that I was talking about earlier, well, heat triggers the chemical reaction. So the slow acting acid and the alkaline compounds, they react to release carbon dioxide, which creates gas bubbles in the bread and it causes it to rise and for the bread to expand. That's why bread expands, because of that chemical reaction between the slow acting acidic and alkaline compounds in the baking powder. Also, since we are using a glass container, it takes 45 minutes to cook instead of 35 with an aluminum container. If it would have been with an aluminum container, it would have heated much faster because aluminum has a lower specific heat capacity than does glass. Okay, now that it has been 45 minutes, we are going to take the quesadilla out. And voila! Quesadilla is ready.